Okay, hey guys, welcome. It's week 9 Coaches Chat. I'm Coach Jamie, Steve, and then we also have Coach Sarah with us today.
Boom. Welcome to our neighborhood.
Yes. So today, or this week, we are covering some of our favorite topics. You did get a lesson called The Cost of Getting Lean. And it's an article from Precision Nutrition that they did this great infographic and illustration of what trade-offs you have to get to, or you have to do in order to be in the vicinity of a certain body fat percentage. Because we all know everybody's goal is to get lean and mean, but they don't necessarily understand what it means to get there and the process and the actions and the trade-offs or the lifestyle trade-offs that you have to do in order to get to a certain body type. What would you say most people think about getting lean? Like, they have this image in their head.
Okay, I just had this conversation 15 minutes ago. Client and I were talking about, what goals are, like what you're saying, like what is my perspective of getting lean?
Yeah.
I think everybody's perspective may be a little bit different, but the majority of what we have in our heads of what lean is to have definition in your midsection.
Abs.
So having abs.
Yeah.
Maybe not like, rock hard, bodybuilder, right. But like I have definition there. Right. Okay, cool. Turn around for girls on the backside, it's like having, as you would say, a plump rump.
Yes.
with no no defects on the rump whatsoever.
Or you mean like cellulite?
Yeah. Okay. And then arms or whatever. Like I want toned arms.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say that we use what I just said, that little description.
Yeah.
Okay. Really what we want, and everybody wants this, guys included, is when you go to your doctor, you want him to give you a high five and say you're healthy. Mm-hmm. Number 2, you want to look good in a bathing suit, or what the popular term or phraseology is, I want to look good naked.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 things. Yeah. And now to get to what we just described of having like a resting heart rate between 50 and 60, to look in the mirror and be at, for a guy, almost single digits in body fat, for a girl somewhere around 10 to 12-ish. Oh my God.
You got to go to hell and back.
You've got to go to hell and back to be able to do it. So when I was in college, I did not do the freshman 15. I did like really well. But then like my super senior year, which was my 5th year, my 4.5 year, because I went 4.5.
I was a super senior.
Dude, that last year, I went from 190-ish to 230, 229.
You did have super size.
Yeah, I had a super size senior year. And so I remember I couldn't really run up a flight of stairs without being smoked out of breath, and I'm going, dude, something is wrong. So I went to Subway a good bit and ordered a salad. I went to a barbecue place, Stonewall's over here, and ordered a barbecue plate that only had pulled pork and green beans were my sides and an unsweet tea. And I did that like a robot. I didn't drink on the weekends. I didn't go out. If I did, I had a minimum of 2 drinks for the whole weekend. That was Friday and Saturday. Meat and a veggie, meat and a veggie, meat and a veggie. That was it. Yeah. And I got down to 181 pounds, so I lost almost 50 pounds doing that. And it was not fun at all doing it.
You were monotonous. You weren't
The only thing I thought about was food and working out. Those are the 2 things that I thought about. To where I had a light outline of abs, but not like chiseled rock hard bodybuilder stuff, and I was still not killing myself, but that was the only 2 things I obsessed about.
You just outlined like a process that you did, and you were hyper focused on eating meat and veggies, working out like a maniac, all these things to lose weight. Well, you traded off several things in your lifestyle in order to do that.
I was 5 days a week working out, consistently,
and
maybe
you
6.
Still, after a while, so how long would you say that it took you to lose
8
that?
months.
8 months. So you did that solid for almost a year.
Yep.
And you still didn't have
the Instagram magazine, what you see every day.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at. We compare ourselves to all these images in social media, advertisements, magazines, all these things. Everybody knows that things are doctored, they're photoshopped, all this. But there's something in us that still thinks that we're not good enough and we're not lean enough, or we're not fit enough. I know I have the same issues with myself. It's like, you have a certain idea of what you think that you should look like to portray a certain message. And if you don't get there, you almost feel like a failure.
Yeah, 100%.
This is the way I look at it. I do fairly well for what I can do. I have a schedule that's pretty flexible that I can, make certain things happen. I can work out at odd times if I needed to. And I make working out consistently. Like, I work out about 5 days a week. I eat well. And so I think about how hard I work on top of, just home life and family and kids and working. I'm like, if I know that I do my habits to a certain degree and I don't look a certain way, I don't feel like everybody else should be so hard on themselves, because it takes so much more.
Yeah.
Unless you're a genetic freak,
And that does play a part.
There are some people that can have, abs year round, whatever. But I look at it as like, I'm doing the best I can with the time that I have.
Correct.
And I'm doing the best I can with the meals that I can provide for myself and my family. And I can't get too bogged down on the fact that I don't have abs for, year round. That's what the Cost of Getting Lean article is really about, is just kind of putting it in perspective of trade-offs. Because I'm personally not willing to work out 2 hours a day and eat chicken and no butter on broccoli and bland rice. You can still eat the macronutrients like carbs, fats, and protein, but it's gonna be not very fun.
I went from my biggest right after having my second baby was 220. At my lowest, I was 141.
Holy.
So that was a session of Clean Kitchen that went right into I Am Versus. So I had spent about 12 plus 18 weeks of serious food logging and hardcore. You talk about what you give up, and I remember it's like, so instead of 2 vodka drinks, are you going to just have 1? And so then it was just during the Saints game, and it was just 1 drink. I gave that up, and I ate all the meat and all the veggies. I really got a little, I did get psycho with it, as Jamie tells us not to get psycho. Steve said, when's the last time you had an apple or a banana? And I was like, I hadn't picked up anything heavy. I can't have an apple or a banana today.
Yeah, you didn't lift.
You didn't lift weights.
Lift weights that day. She's saying I couldn't eat an apple.
Couldn't eat an apple. It did. Whoa, no. But I also was right at that point that things were about to start getting crazy because my body fat was going down too far too fast.
Right.
So now I'm up about 15 to 20 pounds depending on the day. But I'm also went from deadlifting, 110 pounds to 265 is my max.
Yeah.
So
not being able to do a pull-up to being able to do a pull-up.
So now I can do pull-ups. And
So it became more about performance-based and what you could build your body up to be able to do.
Much more so, and everybody wants to look good naked and want to hang out with the younger people who seem to always look good naked, but or at the beach.
Yeah.
But it's more about living long, like you said, living healthy. I shock my doctors every time I come. They're like, "Whoa, your blood pressure was so much."
Right.
I had a procedure last December, and the nurse, when she said, "Oh, you must be an athlete," and I went, "You're not talking to me, are you?" I've never been an athlete my entire life. Everybody that knows me, I didn't sweat. Athlete was never a word to describe me.
not an athlete. I didn't sweat.
I just didn't.
Didn't perspire.
No, I would cheer you on and ready for the party afterwards.
Yeah.
Not an athlete, and it was because my resting heart rate was so low, and that was never ever a concern of mine. I should have been, but saw a cardiologist because of a heart defect from my childhood, and he's like, "Ooh, you really don't ever have to come see me ever again." So
that's amazing.
So many health things that I've dealt with are gone.
When you were when you were going in the mindset of the lose mindset, were you kind of like me and you were really hyper focused on food and exercise? And that was mainly the two things
that.
Yes.
One priority. You traded off a lot of lifestyle.
Yes.
Things experiences.
Sunday night steak night with our friends.
Yeah, I mean, social events. Usually, social events are a really hard situation for people that are trying to get lean or even lose weight. And change their habits. So, through this whole process of the challenge, I mean, that's why we call it a challenge, is because we want to challenge you to change your lifestyle. It's not just a challenge to lose the most weight. It's a challenge to figure out what you're willing and capable of changing and consistently staying out and comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because going to extremes, it can happen, and you can do that. But as you've seen in that article, the cost of getting lean from peeing, and from stories, and all of the coaches have stories of going extreme. And we can all validate that that's not something that you're going to live at for the rest of your life. Clean Kitchen is about finding a happy medium where you can stay in that phase, or you find your baseline, your foundational baseline of eating habits. And that's, the eating more plants, protein, and drinking water every time you're going to eat. But then also understanding when it's okay for you to go extreme if you have a goal to do that. Because if your goal is to feel better and just live longer and be healthy, then you don't necessarily need to go too far down the rabbit hole and get crazy and, exercise yourself to death and, eat celery sticks and bland chicken. Like that's not a livable, happy life. So we're teaching you ways to be happy and feel okay and not scared to eat food. Because I would say that's a big issue with a lot of people that come into the challenge, is that, number one, they have this goal of like losing a ton of weight, but then they think they gotta be miserable to do it. So, the trade-offs are not as extreme as you think they are, unless it's your goal to step on a competitor's stage.
Yeah.
And
here's the thing is, like, once you get there, like, you get down to a certain percent of body fat or whatever it is, you look in the mirror and you're like, man, I look great. But you always want what you don't have. So you look in there again and you're like, I could probably lose another 5 here or there. Or that left butt cheek doesn't look like my right one, so I could tighten that up just a hair. And you start picking yourself to death, and the journey never ends. And it's like you keep going down this rabbit hole, and it's like, hey, it is 100%
never satisfied.
No,
it's really important to understand that you're gonna go through phases throughout the year, and you're not gonna stay super lean 100% of the time. Like, your body will not do that, and your mind will not do that. So you have to give yourself a little bit of a break and fall back on those level 1 type of foundational habits, and understand that it's completely okay to be in a season of maintenance where you don't necessarily look your leanest, or you're not working out as intense as you did 12 weeks before. Because even workout programs, they go in cycles of intensity, and that's how strength is built. It's not built over the course of weeks or even months. It's more like compounded in years.
Yep.
So you can even look at your fitness in that way, and that's what we're teaching in the Clean Kitchen Challenge, is these habits that are going to build upon a lifetime. And so that lifetime of habits is what gives you the body and the health and stuff. Like, people ask me all the time, like, what do you do? And I'm going, well, I've been practicing this for almost 8 years. So you can't compare, Sarah, how long have you been going at this?
4 years.
4 years. Several other people, like, years in the process, and they're still learning
what works.
And for their goal, because goals change. Seasons of life change. Like, maybe 5 years ago you were ready to go kill it in a race or a competition, but now things, your perspective changes, and maybe you don't want to do those type of things.
I'll say one last thing. There's nothing wrong with either phase that you brought up.
Right.
But if for some reason you feel like you have to be ripped all the time, you're just not going to be able to have as much fun as the person that's in the 80-20. Don't compare yourself to that person. We're not saying it's bad to be ripped like Rambo. It's not at all. We have clients that are ripped like Rambo. I'm watching, and he's lean year round, but the dude works out 6 to 7 hours a week, if not more.
Right.
And then eats pretty dang clean all the time.
Right.
So, that's his life. He loves it. That's not realistic for a mom of 4 or a mom of 2 or a mom of 1.
Right. When you go to that place, that dark place of level 3 type of eating,
You're
having to get B12 shots to stay up like Anna?
Right, and
you
it
can't take your food scale to Branch.
No, you can't weigh your food. It kind of isolates you, and it makes life just not as enjoyable. I'm not saying that it's terrible for some people, because some people love that, but for me personally, and our philosophy of Clean Kitchen as a whole, is we're in it for the long game.
Yeah.
And level 3 leanness is not long term. So I really wish people would start posting pictures of like, this is what I look like year round, as opposed to this is what I look like for a day. Ripped abs, you know? Yeah. And so when you get that lean, like, people eat that way to get a picture, like one picture, and then all of a sudden they eat like just regular food, and then they fluff back up. And so that's not something that you see. You see the ripped pictures, but you don't see the realistic pictures.
Yep.
So we hope that really long coaches chat
read the article, peeps.
helped him get you a good perspective on what we're talking about, and that it's totally fine to be normal looking and not have popping abs,
And be healthy
and feel good and sleep good and not have your hormones go crazy.
Yep.
And all these things that make life wonderful, you don't want to miss out on, just because you want to have ripped abs, because that's not the end all. So anyway,
Hey, Alicia.
we will end it there and bring it on week 10 next week for the coaches chat. We'll see y'all then.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.